Hello, fellow guitar nerds. This is my very first gear video. I know, you'd think a guy like me that likes to talk about gear a lot would have done one of these by now, but this is my first one. So hopefully I don't trip over my words too much. Bup. Now I'm doing this because I recently got a hold of the brand new Boss RC600 loop station. This is its flagship loop station. It is a 6-track looper with all kinds of doodads on it, and I'm going to take you through and show you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and compare it to my old RC300. Anyone who has seen me perform or seen any of my videos in the last few years has probably seen me using this. This is the standby RC300 that's been my mainstay for the last 5 or 6 years. The first thing to talk about when comparing the two units is real estate. The RC600 is significantly smaller and lighter than the RC300. And I am all for anything that makes my gear lighter and smaller and easier to carry around. The 300 is a 3-track looper. Each one of these tracks can be played back individually, or you can set it to multi-mode where they play back all at the same time and you can turn them on and off at will. The RC600 is a 6-track looper with the same configuration where you can play each track back one at a time in single mode, or you can use multi-mode where they play back simultaneously. I honestly can't think of a situation where I would actually need 6 tracks, but they're there regardless. Now, one of the cool things about the RC600 is that you can set single or multi-mode individually on each track, which means what I've done is I've set up my track 3 in multi-mode and my track 1 and 2 in single mode so that I can play track 3, which I usually use for percussion stuff, and I can play that with track 2, or I can play it with track 1, and I can switch between track 1 and track 2, and they won't play at the same time. So I can have my percussion, verse, chorus, and switch between them as I need them. That's very cool. The other very cool thing about the RC600 is the effects. There are a ton of effects built into this thing. And it's got some basic amp modeling, it's got delays, it's got reverbs, it's got all kinds of stuff, more stuff than I would ever use. So I'm going to show you what I do with those. I'm going to plug this in right now, and I'm going to show you how I figured out to make this work for myself. So I got myself all plugged in here. And what I'm going to show you now is a simple preset that I've set up for my electric guitar. So I have, first of all, just a basic amp model, just a clean amp. It's a nice clean, and I've assigned my undo redo button to turn on and off an overdrive. It's a pretty basic little overdrive sound, but it works, does the trick, and it sounds pretty good. We have 3 control modes on the RC600. Mode 1 here, all my buttons down at the bottom give me control over tracks 1 to 3. If I switch to mode 2, I get control over tracks 5 to 6. And if I hold that button down, it switches into mode 3, which is normally set up for controlling effects. But I've got it set up so that these buttons over here switch between presets that I can use for different guitars. You see I've got an acoustic and I've got an electric preset. I've also set up the button here, the undo redo button, as a mute switch for my inputs. So I can kill my guitar and I can change guitars without making any unruly noises. So I go back to mode 1, and this is sort of where I kind of live. And as I said before, I've got track 3 sort of set up as my percussion track. That's where I can do my drum loops, which I just create by sort of banging on my guitar. So I can sit there and do this kind of thing where I'm I got a simple sort of kick and snare sound. And then I can go through and I can start recording different rhythms on tracks 1 and 2. So if I go over here and just kind of do a So that's just going to keep going until I tell it otherwise. And then I can go over here. And then when I hit track 2, it switches to that. That's pretty cool. And then I just hit my stop button. If I hold down the Alt Start and Stop button, it clears all the loops and I start again from scratch. So that's pretty cool. And you can hear I've got a basic reverb and delay as well as my amp setting on this preset. So it works pretty well. The one effect in the RC600 that does disappoint me a little bit is the octave effect, because it still won't do what my trusty OC3 will do, because it does not have the polyphonic mode where I can set a range on it that I can play chords and just have an octave effect on the lowest note of that chord. So it does not quite replace everything. So now I've got my OC3 plugged in, and what I've got going on here is because the OC3 has separate outputs for the original guitar sound and the bass sound, and I've got those going into separate inputs on the RC600 so that the guitar input goes through the guitar amp, the drive, the reverb, the delay, and the bass sound goes through none of that. So it stays very clean. So I get a really good bass sound that way as well. So I'm going to do a quick playthrough of a song here for you. And what you're going to see me do is on track 2, I'm going to record a couple of chords, and that's going to include the bass from the OC3. And then I'm going to record me beating on the guitar on track 1 to create a drum track. And then on track 1, I'll do the second section of the song, and you'll see me switch back and forth between those two. And I'll also be kicking the drive on and off throughout the tune as well. So you can see how it all kind of comes together. So best of luck to us all. You finally came right out and said it, girl. What took you so long? It was in your eyes, look that's been there for too long. Waiting in line just to see if I was wasting my time. Did I miss again? I think I missed again. About it from time to time. When I'm lonely and on my own, I try to forget, and yet I still rush to the telephone. Waiting in line just to see if I was wasting my time. Did I miss again? I think I missed again. Missed again, oh, I think I missed again, oh. So that's my take on the RC600. I hope you got something out of that. And if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel. And let me know if you'd like to have some more videos of me yakking about some gear.